Eric Brown, Coffee and Chill.
Love it.
Fucking love
Mr. Conscious Bar.
I was
Love
telling him, like, if I was like, we need to pull the, I'm like, I need you to see the history on the date of
document.
the Chocolate and Chill Google Drive doc for you to not think that we stole the name, because we're like, he's like, we took it from Netflix. I'm like, oh, me too.
Yeah. But it's such a creative name to be able to have, yeah. But honored to be here. I'm like, we had our phone call and I was like, we have to definitely pump the brakes because this is going to be a fun conversation.
Yeah. So full disclosure, we already started the podcast. It was 30, 40 minutes on the phone and we had to dial it back and be like, let's save it. Let's save it for when the camera's on.
That's right.
Cool, man. Cool. So why don't we start there? You are, if I'm not mistaken, the co-founder of Coffee and Chill, which started out in California and now brought into Miami and hopefully into many more cities.
Many more to come.
Yeah, man. Yeah. What is Coffee and Chill?
Man, to me, Coffee and Chill is kind of a dream come true in regards to community building, but at a core on a public-facing side of things, it's a social wellness event, a premium social wellness event for people to come together to, first and foremost, it's community forward, to be able to connect with others, where, as we were just chatting prior to this podcast, is that it's actually difficult and statistically difficult for, as we get older, to connect more new people and make new friends and to expand our network. And we know our network is our net worth. And especially being here in Miami, it's hard sometimes even to build authentic and genuine connections with people. And there's just a synonymous almost connection with authentic and genuineness and wellness and health. Kind of that's more common to come together. And so seeing that here in Miami, it's a bi-weekly programming event that happens. It's completely free flow. So most curated experiences here in Miami are curated from start to finish, whether it's a wellness event, you have a yoga class, and then you have a Pilates class, then you have something where it's like, really people are coming to those experiences simply to have a social connection, whether they know that's their primary outcome or not. And so being able to use that. But typically in social gatherings, there's something, whether you're at a club or you're at a bar or you're at a wellness event, there's something that's an icebreaker or a social lubricant. So it could be a drug, an alcohol, or for our case, it's coffee and cold plunges. It's a great way to like break people out of their shell and just kind of have this dopamine rush that happens and people are opening up and being able to connect. So that's what Coffee and Chill is in a nutshell for what's coming here in Miami and more cities to come for sure.
That's beautiful, man. I love it. So I attended it for the first time a couple of weeks back, and I'm a fan of both things, right? Cold plunges, coffee, it goes together. You know, it's awesome.
Yeah.
For me, it's like, to me, it was genius in a sense because I'm like, you take a very baked-in experience that's already like killing it in the form of like a pool party, say, right? And a very, let's call it sexy, fun, high spirit, high energy vibe of an event, which I like to equate to as like, imagine a Vegas pool party, but you substitute the pool with cold plunges, you substitute the alcohol, which for the most part is not good for you, with specialty coffee and matcha. And supplement it with some vitamin B shots and other,
wellness-based,
activities.
Vendors. Absolutely.
It's a fucking no-brainer, right? It's incredible. I attended. I texted them immediately. I'm like, you guys got to get your ass here. This is it, right? This is awesome. Yeah. So I'm, it's amazing, and kudos to you guys. You guys did an amazing job.
Thank you.
What do you think in the times that we're in now, where it is becoming harder, to your point, to form meaningful connections and go to events that people would want to come to again, that you actually feel good about and feel alive and a health promoting, whether it's physical, mental, or hopefully both.
Yeah.
What is it in the times that we live in today where you think is this kind of trend and community building is so important?
It's a great question. We came out of COVID where we were separated from most people, depending on your area of environment of state or, cities that you were in. But it's also, I think we can, even from socials, we can see run clubs becoming more popular. We can see pickup sports experience is becoming more popular and flooding parks and those sorts of things even more. So I think people are waking up to, one, that we need to take care of ourselves, and what better way to do that than with the people that you love or you want to find other people. But it's also been this synonymous thing that I think a lot of these is showing up is a offline dating culture, where it's like, let's meet people, where people are coming to our events, people are going to run clubs, people are going to these places where they're actually kind of, it's like an in real life Hinge, or, you know, these things where people are able to connect with each other. So I think subconsciously people crave human connection. It's one of our fundamental human needs. You know, I believe we have like 6 fundamental human needs, and connection is something that typically we can meet in empowering ways and disempowering ways. And so it's like, what is a way that we can foster human connection in an empowering way where we leave and we feel really good about what we're doing? And wellness is just one of those things that is taking places by storm. So many businesses are now including a wellness package, or hotels and resorts, I'm starting to find, are now including more wellness-based things because they know it's a way to bring people together, and they're finding. So I think it's more important than ever because people are feeling lost and lonely, or, you know, they're, a great way to say it would be kind of losing their shine, or they stem away from what's most important to them. And they find when they, a statement I like to say is, pay attention to who you're with and what you're doing when you feel at your best.
Yeah. Yeah, that will tell you everything you need to know. Really,
that will tell
really
you everything you know.
Yeah.
Your nervous system will tell you how you feel when you leave afterwards, your energy, are you drained, or are you fulfilled and uplifted actually after there? Does that moment continue on? Where it's something like a coffee and chill, where it's something that we get hundreds of reviews for, where it's like, we came to the event and the event actually ended at 9 p.m. for us. Because they're like, we went to lunch with these new people we met, and then we went on to, and it's just kind of this domino effect that continued, where when you put yourself in aligned places, it's almost contagious for you to kind of then be in that momentum of success, meeting new people, and just kind of stepping into your best identity of yourself. So that's why I think it's most important right now.
I think it's so great that the event is 10 a.m. to noon. It's not too long. It's not too short. It allows you to go, what's that?
Why 10 to noon is like, why do you think that's so?
I'm a morning person. If you told me 8 a.m., I would be there, right?
Okay,
but
fair.
I think most people need that hour to stretch, work out, especially for your event, kind of, you know, freshen up and look good. Have breakfast, have coffee, and just, or maybe wait till they hit coffee and chill. But you know, get there at a prime morning time, which I think, you know, smack in the middle, 10 a.m.
Yeah.
And noon being like, I think there's a lot to say for what a commitment looks like, especially on a weekend, because you guys usually have it on a Saturday
or Sunday. Yeah,
Saturday
every
or
other weekend,
Sunday.
yeah, depending on the venue.
10 to 12, I think the 2-hour window, it's not a 7-hour pool party. Right. It's not this massive commitment. I think it allows you to integrate it into your weekend very easily. The tickets are super, they're priced very, very fairly, right? So it's not super expensive. So I think everything about it lends itself to, you know, substitute a brunch, right? That's just like something you've done a million times.
Right.
With an experience, right? With something different.
Love to hear that. We had some strategy behind that. So it's good to, you know, the strategy is being picked up and received. So it's 10 to noon is a good time. And, you know, for us, it's being an inclusive space where it's whether you woke up that morning at 7, 8 a.m. and you ran a 10K, or went to a workout class, or, you know, did your thing that morning, or you were out late last night and you got home at 2, 3 a.m. and you're now like just rolling. We've had people that have rolled right out of their night before, and they went right into, you know, but everyone's got to recover and those sorts of things. So it's a beautiful thing to be a space where, you know, whether wellness is kind of like that bridge between a lot of things that we need to take care of ourselves, and, you know, that looks differently for everyone. So yeah, there's some strategy behind the ticketing pricing and the timing. So I'm glad that was resonated.
100%. What does the word experience mean to you?
Experience.
Yeah.
I would say it falls on a spectrum of feeling alive. A cold plunge is an experience.
Yes.
Like if you want to know that, like you realize,
especially yours, because it's a communal, inviting cold plunge.
Yeah, you're getting in with other people, and it's an experiences to me is something. Yeah, it's where you feel alive, and you're also fostering and creating memories that will live on the mantle of your kind of year or your life that you will want to remember moving forward and tell other people about. And so it's like, what can you cultivate and create something that I'm sure we've all been to an event or an experience, if we're using that word, where it wasn't maybe so memorable or it didn't leave much of an impact on us, where it's intentionally left to leave a fingerprint or a mark or to plant a seed for someone for making a positive transformation in their life. So that's kind of what an experience is, whether it's skydiving or parasailing or surfing or, fishing or having a family moment with your partner or your new family or whatever it may be. Like, what are those experiences that we can cultivate in life? And I think experiences are also a conscious choice.
Tell me more about that. What does that mean?
A conscious choice where I feel we're, especially in Miami, there's a lot of options of things around. And it's very easy to stay home and just not do anything.
Yes.
Where it's like we have to make a conscious...
Over-analysis causes literally staying at home.
Yeah, absolutely. Where it's like then you are wondering why maybe life is a little dull. Or what? And it's another good thing is like I keep a thing in my notes on my phone and it's titled, "When was the last time you did something for the first time?"
Love that.
And it's like, if you can't remember when the last time you've done something for the first time, maybe it's time to do something for the first time that you haven't done. And so it's making a conscious choice to go and seek those moments out or put yourself around people who are that already live, that radiate that type of lifestyle, or that you just see them on, whether it's social media or in real life, that they're always in an environment that is creating experiences, or they're making a conscious effort to live their life, and that's just part of their lifestyle. Some people, that's just who they are, and they've worked, and that's a muscle they've built. Most people, it's a conscious effort that they need to make to put themselves in an experience. So for an event, a lot of people that hold themselves back is social anxiety. It's a real thing. But being able to, like someone coming to a coffee and chill, why we even in our programming and our messaging, whether you're coming with friends or riding solo, where it's like, come solo.
Yeah, you can come alone.
It'll be the greatest experience. And so that's why I kind of share it's a conscious choice to put ourselves out there, because no one's going to come knock on your door, put your clothes on for you, get you in your car, and then take you somewhere, unless you have a really cool friend or someone that's going to drag you out of there. But it's, really, I think that's what has brought so much joy and fulfillment to my life, is that even when I've been tired or I've not wanted to go somewhere, making a conscious choice to go to that run club or to go to that new experience or to travel somewhere has been where some of my greatest memories and the greatest people I've met have come from. So that's making that conscious choice to seek those experiences.
That's one of the best and most expanded upon definition of what an experience is.
Oh yeah, long.
That was great.
That
was great.
We're here to think differently, I guess, right?
Yes. You mentioned something I think extremely important, that we let it kind of just drift by us and not put too much thought into it, which is, Miami is a great, sizzling type city. There's a lot of options.
Sure.
All the big cities have it, and a lot of places do have it. Yet, most of us, at least I can speak for myself, but I think it's a becoming trend, where we don't feel super excited, right, to go out to the same bar, the same restaurant, the same brunch, the same sightseeing, potentially even the same beach.
Yeah.
That I'm not speaking for myself, because I can go to the same beach a million times, my happy place. But I think, we have a lot of options, but we also don't have a lot of options. and I think this is, obviously where coffee and chill comes in play, but why do you think that is? Like, why do you think we as a society are so discontent with the options that we have?
Oh, great question.
It's a loaded one.
It's a loaded one. I'll try to keep it shorter than our experiences question. But why do I feel that it's... I mean, we kind of are in a culture of, and this is just my hallucination in regards to my perception of the world, is that we are surrounded with almost too many options, and can live in an analysis or paralysis by analysis of all the things that are there. But being... Could you ask that in a different way?
For sure.
Yeah.
When we were younger, there was a plan. We also didn't have cell phones and internet. At least I can speak for my generation. But there were a couple of plans. You would choose one and you would actually be excited about it.
Sure.
My intuitive feeling is that many people are feeling that they're not excited about the options that they have for entertainment and socializing.
Okay.
Hanging out with your boys and spending time with your loved ones is always a great thing. And I think a lot of us kind of seek that because we don't get the same fuel and charging that you were talking about before from 80% of the other activities. And so the question is, why are the majority of the options out there not exciting to us anymore?
The one, I would challenge people's mindsets in regards to that of there's things out there, and it's just maybe that the way that your universe, that your world that you're operating in, until you kind of remove yourself from that maybe there are some new things. But I think people don't do, meaning in regards to give an example, is that there's people who have shared with me, they're like, I only knew a kind of a toxic drink going out kind of culture here in Miami. I didn't even know there was a wellness-based community that was here in Miami. And so being able to step into that brought a lot more joy and fulfillment and kind of cracked people open, where I think people are also craving more authenticity. I don't know if I'm answering this question correctly, but really, is there an answer to, a correct answer to anything? But I think it's people are searching for what actually fulfills them and what actually lights them up, and we don't really do our own self-inventory of what is most important to us and what we actually care about, and we kind of just follow the crowd of those that are around us, and we can get into a routine, and oftentimes I find that it's valuable for someone to break their routine a little bit rather than live in such a mundane kind of dull where it can kind of be so consistent around the board, where it's actually good to have some ups and downs and to cultivate and create those. And so I think it wraps back into that can very easily, especially here in Miami, just you can get in the hustle bustle of just things, and a month goes by and you're just like, wow, I haven't seen friends, or I haven't really created that spark of life. I've maybe leaned more towards work. In those sorts of things, where it's making a conscious effort to explore something new or do something for the first time would be kind of there. But I just don't think people maybe know that there's options out there for them that they could explore that would maybe be something different. And just being able to be the fear of the unknown in regards to trying something different can be scary sometimes. So, but usually the going to an event that we maybe think could be an opening for us, or actually holds a lot of value and a lot of spark that could lead to something. But it's, I don't know, being able to take things deeper for yourselves and really self-analyze what's most important. Like for us, could even be something super simple, going to hit golf balls or shoot hoops or play pickleball, and just incorporating an active lifestyle.
Yeah. I think I'm not sure, I'm pretty sure actually that it's where I met you for the first time when I first moved to Miami almost 5 years ago. and I think Grant was leading the cacao ceremony there with a couple of people. I'll never forget it. It was like the title was Bali meets Miami, or Miami beats Bali. I'm like, sounds right up my
It's at
alley.
Modern Home, right?
It was
Oh, no, it was at
right here.
Ironside.
Yes.
Yes, the glass box.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
and I
right.
think that's where I met you for the first time.
Yeah.
That's not an event that I would go to. You know what I mean? Just, full transparency. And
Yeah.
and I moved from New York City, don't have that there. I was starting a chocolate company, and I was like, cacao ceremony, okay, meets Bali vibes. I always want to go to Bali. Let's see what it's about.
Yeah.
Case in point, I've stayed in touch with a lot of people from that one experience and day that I didn't necessarily even want to go. I'm like, let's see what it's about. I want to see a different face and a different side to Miami.
Yeah.
And I also think, at a much kind of larger, zooming out, it's maybe, it played a big role in me staying in Miami. Because in my mind, I was still, maybe we're going to California, maybe we're going somewhere else. And,
Yeah.
I didn't know Miami like that. But
Yeah,
cool,
I mean,
man.
it's a beautiful thing when you're able to put yourself in those environments and you made a conscious choice. And the beautiful thing is it's best case scenario is you meet a business partner, you meet someone there, an extraordinary person, you learn something about yourself. Or worst case scenario is you spent 2-3 hours of your time and $40 and you're on to the next experience type of thing. So not more to gain than there is to lose.
Absolutely. You use the word conscious a bunch of times.
Intentionally.
Obviously, no pun intended,
No
or
pun-
maybe pun intended.
Pun intended a little bit. Just a little bit.
That's a word that is obviously very embedded into my life and into our company. What does that word represent to you?
What does conscious represent to me?
I'm munching some chocolate while you're thinking.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
There's a million different interpretations.
There's a million
to
different,
about-
yeah, absolutely. But if I'm just ripping off of what kind of initially comes to mind is living life with intention and thoughtfulness and care, and almost like just romanticism of your own life, and so living that is consciously is having. Like there's even in like personal development world of like there's stages of learning where you have unconscious competence that leads all the way to conscious or unconscious competence where you're just in this space of how well can you connect with people around you? How conscious am I aware of, am I driving? I think we live in a, and I know because it's very true for myself, I'm not the best person at it in my own world, is how present can you actually be? Like there's here, and like your body's here, but then there's here.
Yes.
And that is I think the one thing that most people struggle, it's the thing that I struggle with the most, and I put a lot of conscious effort into it, which is, it's funny, I'm using conscious effort into describing my definition of conscious. But it's being able to be intention and present into like the things that you're doing around. It's just mindfulness of your character, your mannerisms, how you act. And so that's kind of what first comes to my mind when I think of conscious, where you're putting thoughtfulness into my work that I do, into the things that I do with my family and friends that are around me. And it's how intentional you can be in there. And it's the more you find yourself conscious of the foods that you put into your body, the water that you drink, like how we take care of ourselves, the thoughts that we think, the more we put conscious effort into that, it then steps into that space where you don't have to consciously think about it. It's just who you are.
The conscious intention becomes unconscious.
Correct.
Is when you're winning.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing.
So how about for you? I'm curious for, because it's a core ethos of of your life. I'd be curious to, I'm sure you've mustered on this a lot.
Yes, I have. You captured it beautifully, like I thought you would, with the same, definition you gave for experience. The word conscious to me, other than, yeah, I mean, to me, the main word that comes to me is intentionality, that you just touched on. Our brand's name, obviously, is the Conscious Bar. And everyone, the first question that pops to mind is, what's so conscious about it, right? And I think, to me, what it links to is, of course, intentionality. And then the branches that comes out of that is, in the world of catering and experience, and this is becoming a bit of an internal model for us as well, which I wish I could take credit for this statement, but I took it from Alex Hormozi, actually, which is tell stories that only you can tell, right? Which the translation for me is cater or extend experiences that only you can provide. And if you're truly being conscious about an experience that you want to cater, provide, experience with other people, it has to be very thoughtful, it has to be very, very intentional, from the ingredients, right? The quality of the ingredients, how it's packaged and what it looks like, right? Chocolate is something that is very nostalgic in a way and very magical in a way. Yeah. It brings a tremendous amount of unconscious feelings and memories from potentially your childhood, depending on what your relationship with chocolate looks like, right? And then on to the sourcing, right? And where is this thing coming from? Is it a fruit? Does it just come out of the sky, right? Like, what is chocolate for me, right? What is a conscious experience? Yeah. And so for me, yeah, it's a ton of intention and a ton of intention and attention to detail, for sure.
Yeah, I love how you broke that down.
Yeah,
thanks for sharing that. Now I appreciate this even more. Each and every.
What is your favorite flavor?
I love the creaminess of the tahini one, but having the orange one here for the first time, so good.
The orange hits.
The orange is hitting. It's maybe because it's summer and it's like that refreshing kind of citrus zesty mix with that rich cacao, and then the sweet, like the subtle sweetness of the dates, and then you have the chocolate tempered so well that it's just like, well done.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you. We have a very talented team of chocolatiers who are doing a phenomenal job.
That's right.
You participated, I think, with Grant, if I'm not mistaken. I think you guys have still like a 10-minute video on cacao. Cacao is being a part of your life. I don't know for how long, but tell me how did you get attracted to cacao? What does it mean for you?
What a great question. And I love cacao. Most people have, like, I had this relationship when I was younger, and I don't know, I would love to know more of like your story of like how that came about, where chocolate was just a Kit Kat candy bar or a Crunch bar or a Hershey bar. Growing up, there was no actual like deep connection to it. It was just like a sweet, that sort of thing. So for me, moving down here, I had no idea cacao was like what the rawest form of chocolate, or that it even came from a fruit. So there's like a lack of education even around it. But when I came out here, and Grant then came and moved down to us both from Minnesota, and he had went to Bali and went through a yoga teacher training where they introduced a cacao ceremony from, it was an amazing couple, Ayla and Asiera. They also have some incredible music that they make as well. But they introduced a cacao ceremony to him. He was like, this is extraordinary. Like, you can, similar to coffee and chill, where you're having an experience where when you have raw cacao, you're having theobromine in it, you're having all these elements that are releasing bliss molecule within inside of you, and you just feel euphoric when you're consuming true raw ceremonial cacao. And so he brought that back, and I was like, starts cooking up in the kitchen, and I'm like, you're literally melting chocolate into a pan with water and some other spice. I was like, what are we doing? He's like, you just got to try it. And it is like this rich bitterness to it, but it's so delicious, where it just kind of just like allows you to sit into that present moment. And so it was beautiful to see him kind of expand upon that and bring people together around chocolate in a more conscious way, and to kind of give education to it, to sit in intention, to actually sit in stillness or sit in quietness, or to sit with another individual, maybe even a stranger, and have eye contact. And you're just sitting there eye gazing with someone, where it really kind of broke this space with people to there. And it was like a bridging of gaps for people. And so cacao for me has now, I think, highly because of those experiences, or not, I know, there's times where I will go over to friends' houses and I will bring all of that with me. Or it's been a great way of fostering relationships and connections with people. And it's like, it's almost kind of like a bonfire moment for me that can go anywhere. And it's also a great way to really get a deep connection with someone, where you're able to make a cup of cacao, or even it's a passing of the baton to like teach someone how to intentionally do that. Because also, like, intention's been the most thing, is most people just like cook their food quickly, all these sorts of things. But cacao, when you make it, you have to intentionally be present with that entire process, through the getting of the ingredients to making of the entire process into, and I'm speaking of the drink, of making it into a beverage, and then the time of consuming it, where it's not just like you're sipping it and you're scrolling on your phone. It's like, hey, let's take a moment, maybe take out a journal and those sorts of things. So it's kind of like, for me, it's the association that's kind of anchored in with it, is how can we snowball this into being more intentional, and how can this open up deeper things for myself, and deeper connection with someone that I'm in proximity with. So that's what it's been, one of my greatest connectors. That and a cold plunge has been like, if we can have a cup of cacao with each other and a cold plunge, like that's a deep connection.
So you attribute most of your happiness to the cold and cacao.
I could attribute, yes, those are high up there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
When you touched on food, and this is, basically, we're talking about, at the end of the day, what we all want is to live a happier and healthier life, right? And there's a lot to break down and to unpack there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pillars of what health and wellness means for each person, and those pillars can be different. But from an overarching standpoint, there's your community, there's stress management, there's a lot of different things, and then there's food. Mm-hmm. What do you think we get so wrong as a society when it comes to food?
Wow. I would say it's a lack of education. You could sit on Instagram or YouTube or any of these places where people are consuming most of their education or information. And you could watch one thing or learn from one, or even book, any sort of information input into your own programming in your mind. And it could be contradictory to another healthy book that, say, someone else that has great credentials for what they're doing, and you're like, wow, this person's got to know, or has a similar story, but also this person, where I think there's almost an information overload of what's actually beneficial for us, and we kind of got to root that back to the basics and find that the least amount of ingredients in something is probably the best thing for you, in my opinion. The things that you can read on a label, that's not a chemical.
Nice. Yeah, it's nice to know like, what an ingredient means.
And it's like, I feel most people need to have this kind of shift, like a tipping of the scales moment. For me, it was, I'm not a vegan anymore, but I ate a plant-based lifestyle for like almost a little over 2 years. And it was that and drinking Kangen water were two things that kind of opened my mind to, there's better choices for me to make out there that I'm actually feeling a personal, like my own intrinsic benefit from consuming those sorts of things, that when we make those choices, then it snowballs into it's like a Pandora's box that opens up to like, oh, there's a lot of actually healthier nutritional choices that we can make, and maybe not eating processed foods anymore. Or then you, like, something that I learned was going into a plant-based lifestyle and drinking Kangen water and some of these things, it piques your curiosity to learn more about those sorts of things. And you find, okay, there's correct me if I'm wrong on whatever number this is, but it's like 1,300 some chemicals that are banned in Europe.
Yeah, I don't know what the number is, but it's a big one.
That are legal here
FDA
in America.
approved.
And then you watch some of these documentaries where it's like, don't take it as black and white as a statement, but it's like, take it as a way for us to encourage to think differently a little bit about it, and find what's right for ourselves. But it's like encouraging ourselves to go down that rabbit hole a little bit and finding what works good for you. And I would say now, in regards to nutritional choices, I would consider myself an intuitive-tarian, where it's like, I've
never heard that before.
Intuitive-tarian, if you're right, if you want to just a grass-fed ribeye, with some, avocado and, good rice or something that's with it, it's like, that's what I'm going to have at that time. Or maybe it's something that's going to be a little bit lighter or whatever it may be. But just being able to go down that path and just kind of educate ourselves. And then once you know better, you can make conscious choices to do better. And just where do you, like I said, with around people, it's like, what are you consuming? Pay attention to what you're consuming when you feel at your best.
Do you think there's cynicism towards diets in general, and cynicism towards the power that food has on everything from your brain health to your gut health and overall, mental health?
Yes.
Yeah. Why do you think that is?
Why do I think that is it's the building blocks for our gut is our second brain, in my opinion. So how well we take care of those elements are extremely important. And typically it can be a direct correlation to our mental health. It can be a direct correlation to our physical health. What the standpoint of maybe epigenetics of, it's not about how your genetics of who you are and what your family in history has been, but it's about how you actively take care of yourself from your inputs. And I would say it's not just even nutrition, it's nutrition as a whole, meaning even the things that you're consuming through your ears, through your eyes, through your nose, through your mouth, through all of our senses, I would even go that far.
I agree with you like wholeheartedly, but yet there still is cynicism towards it. You hear a lot of things, right? Where 80-20 rule, it's not that big of a deal. Your body has the power to break it down itself. All of these like statements that they're coming from somewhere.
Sure.
You also mentioned before that people are feeling a little bit more lonelier and maybe sadder than, previously. Let's just say from 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
You can't help to think that there's some sort of connection here. But I'm very, very curious to understand why there's so much pushback and so much cynicism towards the importance of what food plays in your life, right? The role that food has in your life. Do you have any hot take or idea on it?
I mean, I'm sure I have ideas on it, but that's not a category of my expertise of things for, so I don't necessarily know how to answer that, but I think that it's maybe contradictory to information. Like maybe I might also not be understanding this correctly, but being able to take coffee or like chocolate as a sense that might be something that, like you're saying, contradictory information in regards to why to make that choice, correct?
Yeah, I just think there's, so for me, I'll just kind of tell you what.
Yeah,
I think when in the phase of abusing food and picking the easy way out, and bad food is also cheaper, right? So you're basically you're going. It's an uphill battle. So you're fighting higher prices. You're fighting contradictory information and information overload that probably is just it's just too hard to dissect, right? I think a lot of people, unfortunately, don't always like to invest a lot of time and thought into discovering what could be good for them, not just because of laziness, but also because what you might find on the other side is not something that you're going to be excited about. Shit, I can't go to 9 of my 10 favorite restaurants anymore. Shit, I can't buy 8 out of the 10 packaged goods that I want to buy anymore, right? Because what I found now I know too much.
Yeah.
I'd rather just turn the blind eye and not know. So that's what I personally think is happening. It's just I think we are lacking a little bit of education and information. I think it's getting much better because a lot of people are starting to voice, and surface, right?
Yeah.
Good information. But I also think we're just fucking scared, right? Like we're scared of what we might find out that will force us to live a different life and make different choices that are very uncomfortable.
Yeah, I would.
And that goes across the board, of course, not just for food, but because we're in the food space, it's something that we think a lot about. And yeah.
Yeah, and I think it can then trickle down to once you know that is the case, or like you learn something about a specific food choice that you've been enjoying and indulging in and you find out maybe it's not the best for you, is then maybe when you still consciously make that choice to then consume it or use it, that you're like maybe in contradictory in your own internal war, but you're with your own self in your own identity, which can be a tough battle for people to win, where it's like Chick-fil-A is not good for you, but you're gonna go and get that Chick-fil-A with Chick-fil-A sauce, and you're just like, man, sometimes those it's an interesting battle.
Yeah. What is your guilty pleasure?
My Chick-fil-A would definitely be one of them. Yeah, that came out right there.
Quick.
We got it right away. That one, and I would say like a crumble cookie, or those are 2 good ones.
When was the first time you ever had Chick-fil-A? First time. I mean, it doesn't have to be the exact date. But
I mean, when I was still living in Minnesota sometime. Yeah.
Teenager?
Yeah, teenager.
Do you think that plays a role in why that's your guilty pleasure? Because there's the flavor, that's great, but maybe it brings back a certain feeling.
There's definitely the feeling of emotions play a big connection towards the food that we eat, for sure. I mean, same with chocolate.
Yeah.
It's like, but yeah, it's I would definitely probably equate to the joyfulness that comes from the teenage years from having that. That and popcorn. Popcorn's another one for me, but like not enjoying like like what is it? Lesser evil, like a healthier alternative to popcorn, which is delicious, by the way. But like, yeah, like your Orville Redenbacher, like movie butter. But those are another indulgence.
Absolutely. What do you think? What do you think as a society we need more of?
It's a heavy-hitting question there.
Whatever pops to mind.
Oh man, whatever pops to mind.
I'll rephrase. What is the one thing that you think we need more of?
The one thing that I think I'm gonna take a second to think on this one.
This is why we got the chocolate.
That's right. I'm going to go with putting yourself out there a little bit more, where stepping on the other side of recognizing that we're maybe living a scared or fearful space. And I think whether it's someone chasing their dreams or, maybe contacting a person that they're interested in, or making a conscious internal shift of their identity or taking a change of their lifestyle, where I'm going with this is people making the conscious effort to put themselves out there for themselves is kind of an indicator that could separate a lot of people from where they are and where they want to be. And it takes, that process then takes asking yourself some deeper questions and seeing where else you want to maybe take your life and those sorts of things. But I think most people, which could make, that's like a high level that then leads to making different food choices, makes to different friend group choices, making, it's the quality of your decisions, I would say, then that trickles to. But it's putting yourself out there to, like if I had, for my own personal example, is that once I made a conscious effort to move from a state that I had very comfortably in, there wasn't a whole lot of excitement and passion and dreams and these things that were there, and I moved here to Miami, which was in 2018, and being out here, now you are solo, alone, you can't lean on the crutches of who your identity is or the people that you know or these sorts of things, and so you're putting yourself in a position where I think people can feel lost or lazy or anxious or depressed or these sorts of things, where if you simply put yourself in a new environment and you put yourself out there, you are going to find you're going to learn a lot about yourself, you're going to grow a lot, and you're going to find a lot of fun and exciting experiences in that journey. So that would be my answer, where it's like someone needs, in this world, we need to encourage other people to do more and encourage ourselves to do so as well.
That's amazing. Dude, I love your answers.
I'm curious on your answer, you know? But,
I got one for you.
Please.
But yeah, your answers are conscious answers for sure. Intentional, thought through. I feel like you can always tell when you ask someone a question. You could be the smartest person in the room, but what you can always tell is, has someone thought about this question a lot before I even asked that question? And I feel like every question I asked you, what does conscious mean to you? What does experience mean to you? What do we need more of? Like, you've baked in this a lot, right?
Yeah,
Like
a little bit.
Yeah, a lot, more than a little
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Is it fair to say, taking everything you said, and would it be accurate or fair to say, if you just try, because it's really, really hard to do, but just remove fear out of the equation, that just opens the door to an entirely different life?
I would say not removing fear and just accepting that it's part of human experience. There's
having a different relationship with fear. Yeah,
there's my favorite movie that's out there that I think is a great one, that if you can dissect for this conversation, and it's a part of it, is called Inside Out. It's a children's like cartoon movie, animated movie, but there's a lot to unpack inside of those movies. Have you seen Inside Out?
No, not yet.
Oh my gosh, you're gonna watch it, 1 and 2, and we're gonna have another podcast on that.
Inside Out.
It's a extraordinary movie, but it's basically, in a sense, takes this child in a young age that moves from where they were to a new city, and basically it's playing this dialogue of showing you their life as like the kid with their parents and their type of life, like growing up as a child. But then it's playing back and forth then in their control center. They call it their control center inside of their brain, and it shows the 5 fundamental emotions. So you have fear, disgust, anger, sadness, and joy. So you have 5 emotions, and they're all these own individual characters inside of our brains.
Yep.
And it's like they have this control board in front of them. They have core I'm not going to dive in too deep. You can definitely see me getting passionate about this, but it's being able to be like, okay, if that is in your core of your control system or your brain or your conscious and unconscious system, is which one's controlling the board?
Yeah.
Fear is in the boardroom.
Yeah.
So is joy, so is disgust. And it's like, what is your daily operating system that you're choosing to live from? And a lot of people, I don't always live in a state of joy, but I make a conscious effort to live in a state of joy. And then, so to answer your question in regards to to eliminating fear is kind of like pushing them out of that control center and acting like they don't exist, but it provides a lot of value for us. And I find that fear and excitement maybe live on the same plane of energetics and vibration. And oftentimes it's a good thing for us. Would you agree?
Amazing. I do. No, 100%. Yeah, and you rephrased it a little bit. To me, it's changing a relationship with it, giving it a different perspective, which kind of links into my answer a little bit. But yeah, my answer to this, honestly, is empathy. Just because it played like the biggest role in my life. And a lot of the times when you use that word, as cliche as it may sound, and it's you open Instagram and you'll hear empathy everywhere, right? Funny enough to me, empathy means empathy towards myself before I even lend it to others. If you're someone who, you have high standards, you want to be a perfectionist, you want to do things in a certain way, you want to live a life in a certain way, there's a lot of internal battles that we all have all day, every day, right? And it starts with you and then it gets reflected outwards. I just think that leading with empathy changes your perspective on anything at any given moment. And it could be, how you handle situations. It could be how you approach a huge problem, how you approach a small problem, how you destroy someone's day or how you brighten their day. And again, there's the empathy of have empathy for the person who's super pissed off, right? And approach them with a little bit more kindness. But there's also truly put yourself in their shoes, change the perspective of now how to handle this, and you will probably make slightly better decisions. I feel like as a society we're lacking empathy for sure. We don't trust many things. We don't trust people. We don't trust companies. We don't trust brands. We don't trust the government. Mm-hmm. We don't trust the banks. Some of us trust crypto, right? There's becoming very strange pockets of what I do trust and what I don't, and most of it I don't. Sorry, and that leads to anger, resentment, and a million other negative emotions, and that there's a huge domino effect.
Right.
Tweak up the empathy radar just by 10-20% for every single human being on the planet, I think we'll be a different society, right? So, that would be my answer.
Yeah, that's not where I was thinking you were going to take it, but as you describe empathy first for ourselves and having compassion on our journey in our internal world, you seem someone like myself where we can be extremely difficult on ourselves and ultimately for the greater good for our own selves and our families. But yeah, having empathy in regards to others who have a difference in opinion like you said, or having a rough day in that sort of regards is you never know what happened pre-existing to that moment. And you never know what tools people are working with in their own internal world to kind of bring ourselves back to that, our emotional home, that people operate in a different emotional home. And you've done a lot of work on yourself and have built a lot of tools of empathy to then bring you back to that core. And it's, you get to be a reflection and a staple for other people and an inspiration for other people and myself to kind of keep that pendulum coming back to the center.
I appreciate that, man. Likewise.
Love it.
Just one last question to bring it all the way back to the beginning. What's the North Star and end goal for Coffee and Chill?
North Star and end goal to definitely expand. We are expanding. We are we just opened up San Diego last month.
Beautiful.
Soon to come is Bondi Beach in Australia. And then we're New York, Austin, some of the major cities that are there. So definitely expansion is one of the legs of the North Star direction of expansion. Also, just optimizing a customer experience for people, that when they are coming into the experience, it's optimizing how an event and operations go and standardizing that across all of our things, and really becoming a brand that is globally known, that is in planting seeds of making more conscious choices of the people you hang around, the things that you're consuming, be from the vendors that we have are all there. All those are strategically placed there to plant good seeds in people, and also just to have a good time is the North Star, and to be a place that can consistently happen in major cities, that people can come together and have a good time. And to be the first here, I'm not going to share all the details of it, but we have there's like 4 or 5 really fun experiences that are coming here in Miami that are crazy logistical things that are possibly going to, I don't know how that is a possible thing, but it's figure outable. So I'm excited to bring that to there. So those are the North Star. We got expansion, optimization, and then just having a good time.
Drop the mic.
Drop the mic.
What then?